What's happening? All my night owls. This is Nocturnal Thoughts. I don't know if I got time to do this one. I got on my cool glasses because I might lose a little bit of cool points with this story, but I gotta keep it, you know what I'm saying, 100%. Back into the DeLorean, going back into time, and this is a story about cause and effect. Newton's law. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When I was about, I say 11 years old, on Tilson Road, okay, me and a group of little kids, and I was one of the older kids. I was like I said, 10 and a half, 11. The other kid that was with me, name was Kenny. Don't know his last name, and he was my age, maybe a little younger by a few months. And we had a gang of little kids around us that day. And short story short, we ended up teasing this little girl. I forget her name, but you know how you do the little what's such and such sitting in the tree. KISSING. First comes love, etc., etc., right? So we doing that little bit, and this little girl, man, her feelings got hurt, and you know what I'm saying, she took it. We was teasing her, and we was in the wrong, and I was in the wrong, and you know, I was, like I said, I was one of the older kids. We were all little kids, but I was one of the older kids. I should have knew better, and I learned better that day. Okay, I learned real quick that day. So what happened is, when we was teasing her, she started to shedding tears. She started crying. She went home and told her uncle. Her uncle, his name was Gabriel. Rest in peace, Gabriel. Now, Gabriel back in the day was like a little Debo on the block, right? And the kids had kind of dispersed, and it was just me and Kenny. And me and Kenny was standing in front of this little dude named Adrian house, who was right across the street from my house, right? Now, we see her down the block a little bit, because they stayed about 6 houses down from my house and from Adrian's house. And we seen her telling Gabriel. And I'm telling you, Gabriel was the little Debo. He even had the unibrow going on, right? And he was older than us by a couple of years. He was like my older brother age, if not older than him. So he see us down there standing, and he just takes off, coming at us, right? Full steam. And, you know, me and Kenny looked at each other, and we went into panic mode. Now, me, not thinking at all, honestly, I could have walked across the street or jogged across the street, and I could have been at home, safe and sound. But as an adult, and I look back at it, I'm glad that that didn't happen, because you can't run from all your, well, you can't hide from all your problems. You know what I'm saying? You can run, but you can't hide. And we ran, and Kenny jetted off first, and he jetted off in the opposite direction of my house. He ran towards Adrian's house, and in the backyard of Adrian's house was the woods. And back in the South, in Atlanta, we had pathways cut, you know, just man-made pathways all through all the woods in our neighborhoods. We would take like shortcuts, right? So he takes off behind Adrian's house, and I look, and he done took off running. So I look at Adrian, is all the way halfway up the block now. So I take off running too. You know what I mean? Now, by the time I get to the woods, he right behind me. So I'm thinking to myself, like, man, that dude hawked us down quick. You know what I'm saying? And I turn around, because I knew I wasn't no escaping at this point. I turned around, and I said to myself, and I said it out loud, because it was impressive. I was like, man, you caught us quick. And before I even finished my sentence, next thing I know, I'm catching the boot to the chest. He kicked me, and I didn't went back and did a full flip, right? Like I said, I'm gonna lose some cool points, but it's all to the good, right? So he kicked me in the chest, I flip back, I roll back, and I stand back up, and he keep going past me, and he catches up with Kenny. Kenny had then came out of the other side of the woods, and we was like across the street in an empty lot from Piggly Wiggly. So he catches up with Kenny, and I hear Kenny over there begging for his, mercy. And Kenny was like, please, 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 man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was pleading like, don't get him. And he got. Gabriel got him. And Gabriel, I don't know why, but Gabriel, I think because Gabriel, first of all, had a few little incidents with my older brother. And every time he would go against my brother handled him a few times. But he didn't show no mercy on Kenny. He grabbed Kenny up and had him up and, decked him a few times and then threw him to the ground. And then he just walked off, right? So I walked over to Kenny. I helped him up. We brushing each other off. And we we both had that coming. You know what I'm saying? And we walked home defeated. We walked home defeated. And I'm like, peace, man, I'm going in the house. I go in the house, and he go to his house, and I'm thinking that's it. You know what I'm saying? I was happy. To me, I had got off easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had that coming, and I deserved it, and I knew I deserved it. You dig what I'm saying? Because if that would have happened to my little brother or happened to my little niece, I would have did the same thing to somebody if I could have. So as soon as you feel that, boom, I had that coming. I went in the house, and I was going to go about the rest of my night. I went in the bathroom. I remember I went in the bathroom and I raised up my shirt and I looked in the mirror and I had the little nice bruise on the chest. And I honestly, it was like a badge. You see what I'm saying? It was like a badge, because everybody got to take some. You know what I mean? You got to take some licks. And I went back in my room and I was chilling. I didn't even tell my big bro. And even though I know my big bro, like I said, I didn't ask him to fight my battles. And I wouldn't even have told him. You know what I'm saying? That would have been silly. You know what I mean? That was my situation that I got myself into. So I wasn't going to say nothing to nobody. Next thing I know, I think we was eating dinner. Mama had them cook some dinner, probably some hamburger helper or something like that. We in there eating dinner, and next thing I know is a knock on the door. And I can't remember who answered the door, but we go to the door, and it's Kenny, his mom, and both of his big-ass brothers. Excuse my language. I might even edit that, because I said I wasn't going to use profanity. So it was both of his brothers. And Kenny didn't spill the beans. You know what I'm saying? He's still crying. And he telling the whole story on his soapbox. So my mom, being how she is, she mad at me. She mad at me like, tell me the full story. Because, of course, I believe Kenny probably only told his version of the story. And my mom wanted to know the full story. And short story short, all of us ended up in, I forget their last name, but we ended up in his parents' living room, his mom. I don't think his dad was nowhere. I never met his dad. And his mom was like a big mama. You know what I'm saying? She was kind of big and heavy set, and she was mean. She wasn't no joke. And he respected her. And Gabriel, he had a mental disorder. He didn't respect nobody as far as an authority figure, but I can tell he respected his mom. And I remember we sat in that living room, and I was sitting there, and I was trying to figure out, how Gabriel was taking this whole situation, because I wanted to be like, look, man, if this was up to me, I wouldn't even be here. I wasn't on no, even back then, I really wasn't on no snitch level. I mean, that just wasn't how we was raised. And Kenny was new to our neighborhood. I mean, he only had been there for a while, and he was like I said, he was new. I remember my little brother had even came, was like, when he first moved there, a few months before that happened, my little brother was like, hey, this is Kenny, and he's the new kid on the block. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, the whole situation had got squashed, but I learned a very valuable lesson that day. It's a lesson that I already knew, but nothing will solidify your understanding in life better than a good old-fashioned butt whooping. And, you know, like I said, I got a nice full UFC kick to the chest that day that was well deserved, and it made me a better person. So, everybody out there, remember, what goes around comes around, and every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Hurt people hurt people. If you are getting abused in your life, please don't turn around and abuse someone else and put them in the same nightmare that you had to go through. Be a protector. Hey, this is Nocturnal. Peace, wisdom, righteousness, health. Put the Most High first. Thank you for tuning in. Together we stand. Divided, it goes down. Be the light. I'm out.